The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
There's a storm across the valley. The clouds are rolling in. The afternoon is heavy on your shoulders. There's a truck out on the 4-lane, a mile or more away. The whining of his wheels just makes it colder.
Welcome to Community Forum. My name is Priscilla Almquist Olsen, your host. Today is June 27th, 2024, and today I'm interviewing one of the candidates for Governor's Council District 2, and Easton is in District 2. So welcome, Tamisha Civil.
Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you for having me today.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure to meet you. And Tamisha is a Democratic candidate for the Governor's Council. And tell us a little bit about your history.
Sure. Well, my name is Tamisha Civil, as you stated. I'm running for Governor's Council, which is District 2. And I'm an associate probation officer for the Trial Court of Massachusetts. I have a master's degree for criminal justice from Northeastern University. And I'm also a legal advocate for domestic violence shelter. And I've also worked for the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office out in Boston as a victim witness advocate in the Major Felony Bureau. So I've been working in the court system for at least 10 or more years, sitting alongside of judges, watching how they operate. I know how they think. I know their temperament. And, my parents came into this country with little to nothing and did their best to provide me with the best education so that I can be one day something in the community as a leader or an advocate for those who cannot speak for themselves.
Okay, and that's incredible. I had no idea that you have been sitting in courts observing judges for a long time. So for our listening audience and viewing audience, this job as Governor's Council is to select the judges to recommend to the governor.
Right.
It doesn't mean that the governor has to agree with the consensus of the Governor's Council as to the judges who should be appointed, but most of the time the governor does.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very important position. So familiarity with the courts and with judges and so forth, of course, is fundamental to this position. So what would you say to the voters out there why you're just as qualified as an attorney?
Well, first, I would say is that you don't have to be an attorney to become a governor's council. That is one. Two, you do need experience in the legal or criminal justice system. And I've seen it all. I work in the community. I have clients that have been part of the criminal justice system. And what I do is I make sure that they re-enter into the community safely. When judges give someone probation, I'm supposed to make sure that that person is ready and getting the treatment and the access and the resources to complete their probation successfully. And one of the things that makes me qualified is that, one, there has never been a woman of color in the council. Two, I have the education. I have the experience working alongside judges, and I bring a diverse approach. I know what domestic violence is. I know when women are coming into court looking for a restraining order. I understand what it means, and I want judges to understand as well that when a woman comes in seeking for help, they need to be heard the first time. People who have been impacted by crimes, such as seniors, when they are being financially exploited by either power of attorneys or family or friends or any organization that is taking advantage of their finances. I've helped people all across the board in the criminal justice system. I've worked in the major felony unit. I've worked in the juvenile court, mental health court, substance abuse court, and I've also recommended veterans to veterans court because our veterans have laid down their life for us in our country, and we need to make sure that they have the adequate resources, especially entering into the court for whatever crime that have impacted due to their service. We refer them to a court where they can get that access and resource. So that's why I'm running.
And that's why you're qualified.
Yes.
What's interesting about your background is that, unlike most attorneys, I'm a retired attorney myself, and I appeared mostly in probate court back in the day, or I appeared in a juvenile court. But other than that, I wouldn't really know the quality and caliber of judges in other courts that administer justice in criminal cases, domestic cases, and so forth, and civil cases. So you have had experience. Very interestingly, you've had experience in all those areas,
Yes.
all the diverse areas. And so you've seen all the judges in their capacities, their roles in those areas. So that is really it. And also, you said you have a degree in criminal justice. So that started you on the path that you're on today.
Yes. And it's very important when you work in a courtroom for 8 hours a day with a judge, you learn a lot about the judge that you are working with. You actually, they become your second family in the courtroom. Because you're in there 8 hours a day. You know their temperament, you know what they like, you know what kind of information that they need in order to make a decision on the case. And it's very important to work hand in hand, but also have a relationship. I've been fortunate and blessed to work with several judges within the last couple of years near my hometown court, which understands what people are going through. They understand that substance abuse is a disease and it should be treated as a disease. And you can't incarcerate people because they're battling a disease. We need to put people in treatment program. We need to put people in programs that will help them be contributing members in society, not only for themselves, but to help them with their family to push along in the community as well.
Yes. Okay, very well said. All of this, so you're eyeballing the judges 8 hours a day, and that gives you somewhat of an advantage over lawyers like me who maybe come in for a 10-minute session before the judge, and we don't always see the results of the decisions by that judge of other cases, except only our own, which gives us somewhat of a limited viewpoint, I would suggest. But you are fueled by equal justice.
Yes.
And domestic violence and issues that affect families,
Right.
substance abuse, right?
Yes.
And so you are looking to appoint judges who are sensitive to those areas, and so, how many judges does the Governor's Council appoint every year? Does it just depend on the vacancies, or does the governor have a right to kick somebody out?
It's very rare the judge kicks someone out because at the age of 70 they have to retire, but it's based on vacancy. And as a vacancy opens up, an attorney can apply to become a judge. And then we vet that person who's being nominated. But you said an important piece that I really like. We want to make sure that judges that we are nominating understand the values of family, understand what families are going through, and they need to know that it's not only behind the bench. We need judges who have worked with organizations in the community that understand what the normal person is dealing with, such as homelessness, such as divorce. And we know judges listen to all types of cases, but we want to make sure that the judges that we nominate knows it's a people's court. We want to make sure that we are nominating judges that understand pro-choice. We want to nominate judges that understand equal justice. We want to nominate judges that understand domestic violence and what women are going through. We want to nominate judges that will protect our rights, especially the rights of the LGBT community. And I come from, I'm Haitian American, first generation, and I was the first to graduate from college. And it's a great opportunity for me to pave the way, to open doors for other diverse communities to come into the council. And another thing is, we have to look at our country. We have to look at what is happening right now. I think the old boy network has put us in trouble. If you can look at our country, we have someone who's running for president with 34 felonies. How could that be possible? And we cannot allow that to happen. We need to come together as a collaborative. We need to come together and do the right thing. And given that it's 2024, there shouldn't be any reason why there isn't a diverse governor's council. And that's why I'm here today, to share my story and to ask people in the Easton community to vote for me for September 3rd. Not only because there's never been a woman of color of council, but because I bring the experience of the legal system, my education, the work that I do as an associate probation officer, working with judges every day in the courtroom, but also knowing what the average person goes through in the community, and dealing and working with all people from all walks of life. It doesn't matter how much money you have, where you're from, what language you speak. We all deserve the justice, and we all deserve the respect. When we come into a courtroom, when we're facing a judge, we want to be heard, and we want to make sure that our voices are being heard as well from the judge.
So to sum it up, you're not just representing people of color, you're representing everyone.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
you want the judge to look at everyone with an open mind and to consider the background and the challenges of that person, and take a look at what the facts of the case are, and what the law is, and come to some just conclusion. So thank you so much for coming today and being my guest. And tell me, I understand that you're from Stoughton?
Yes.
Right next to Easton?
You're right next to Easton. So I'm a child of the community, I would say. I live right in Stoughton. I've been living there for the last 14 years. I'm a town meeting rep member. I'm also a commissioner for the Eastern Region Status of Women and Girls, where we service women and girls and bring petitions in front of and policies in front of legislators to vote on, so that women can get the access and the rights that they need in our community, Easton being one of them. And so my life has been dedicating of serving people. And I'll share this with the community. One of the reasons why, not only professionally that I work with the legal system, but personally, I know what people go through. My family was impacted by the criminal justice system when my first cousin was incarcerated for 27 years for a murder he did not commit. He was exonerated from all his charges in 2021. Lack of resources, lack of funding, couldn't get a good attorney. And, his mother passed away and he couldn't even go to the funeral because he was falsely incarcerated. This has brought me to the conclusion is that we need to come together and help and fill in the gaps in our legal and criminal justice system to make sure that no one is left behind, to make sure that regardless of the situation, that everyone is the judge is being fair and impartial when we're listening to cases, because we don't want things like that to happen.
I'm so sorry. What a tragedy. And 27 years, that's a lifetime.
Yes, it is.
It is. And you can never get it back.
No.
No. So that's been a driving force, but also you're committed from your other organizations to reaching out to helping people, women and children.
Yes.
And so you have that in your DNA, it appears.
I do, because I really believe in the next generation. We really need to pass the torch, but before we pass the torch, we have to make sure that we prepare. We make sure that our democracy is where it needs to be. I have a 12-year-old son, and I hope that he can learn from everything that I'm doing. And every day that I go to work, that I know I'm helping my clients to be contributing members to society by providing them, what resources and programs to get into for mental health, anger management, or seeking housing for homelessness, and making sure that before I go to bed, I know that I did something. And I think that's how our world should be. Are we perfect? No, we're not. But it's just by starting and doing something that we know we can help the next generation to be better at what they want to do now.
Well said. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure
for having me.
And a privilege to meet you.
Thank you.
And all the best. Until next time, this is Priscilla Almquist Olsen wishing you well.